It's not
That
unusual.
was, well, I've had a lot of things happen. Oh, wait a minute.
It's not unusual.
Okay, so I've had a lot of things happen on this show, but that
It's not unusual for me.
I think
Um,
I'm pretty sure we're back on. Let me see. It looks like, yes, we are. Okay. So I don't know if you want to continue with what you were doing or we want to talk about it, like what you got, what I got. Um,
yeah, I was feeling into the show this morning, and I felt silence
yeah.
coming in immediately. And it's not unusual for me to experience this. Before I start to communicate, then there will be this, it's like this connection that comes through with the source and the divine, and a blessing coming through before we start.
Yeah, I followed you. I got you, when
Yeah,
you started it,
definitely.
I got you, and I could feel an energetic expansion. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden, it's 4:11, by the way, and 3:11 here. But all of a sudden, it just clicked. I think this made the matrix glitch or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're back, so
Yeah. Connection. Yeah. It's good. Mm-hmm. So we can talk.
dude,
we can have an
I've
hour
been
of silence if
I've
you
been
want.
saying I've been saying that over time that this show will just be silence
Yes, I
in time.
understand that.
So I don't know. Just quickly, did you have a wake up experience? Have you always been this weird?
What is that?
It's always been weird.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, always. Though I couldn't put it into any context or even find the words for my experience of life, because I've always been kind of watching and observing, and never really felt connected with the human beings around me, with the people around me, but I always felt so much love coming through. So I had a deep, deep love for people, but I wasn't really connecting in the way that I saw life connecting through other people that I met, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes total sense. In fact, many of the people that have come on this show say the same thing, and many of the people watching.
Yeah. Yeah. No friends, really. I have connections. People come into my energy. It might only be for a second, or it could be for a few moments, or it might be for longer. But the people that stay for longer are usually people that I'm deeply connected with. And I can count them on one hand. They come and they're there for a purpose.
Yes.
And then they leave. And sometimes the leaving can feel very abrupt. Like, it just, they're here one moment, gone the next. So I feel it's my connection with spirit that comes through. Because spirit for me is contained within the human form. when I see anyone, I see the beauty of the person coming through and their spirit and their light. So if we have a connection, then it can be really, really powerful just in that moment. And there's a deep, deep love there. And then it's gone. It comes and it goes.
But it never goes, right?
But it never goes. No.
So
it's like the silence that we had at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
It was saying that, yeah.
So, I mean, I know you have multi-parts, multi, but
yeah,
you definitely carry the Avalon code.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for that.
And the fairies, elementals.
Yeah, I'm very connected. I can't find a word for this. I'm a person that's connected on multidimensional levels. I had a visit a few nights ago from a Black Panther who, middle of the night, I stirred because we're not sleeping very well at the moment.
Nope.
No.
a couple hours.
Yeah, we're lucky if we get any sleep at all.
That's why I didn't mind doing this show at 3 o'clock in the morning, because the next one's at 8 o'clock and the last one was at, I don't remember, but you just sleep a couple hours here and do work for a while, then you sleep a couple hours again. And
yeah, and you can't really differentiate between sleep and being awake because it's all is one. It's all connected. So I stirred in my sleep around 3 a.m. And I felt this Black Panther by my side. And the energy of the panther came through me. I have a connection with the Black Panther. It comes and it goes, like everything. And there's no reasoning or any purpose behind it in terms of why, consciously. But at a deeper level, I can feel the energy. So it stayed with me for a day or two, and it was actually coming through. It comes through my whole being. So I actually become the panther, for a day, or, it comes in and it's doing something, giving me some energy. And I was like, thank you. I communicate with it. But this is quite the norm for me to have these experiences. The white lion comes through very strongly as well. And it will come through and just share some energy. It's very loving, and it's very galactic lion. It's not an earth lion. It's coming from the stars, I would say. And it's connected with the star family. So that's quite common. And I would say that's my connection with spirit that's coming through. And where I experience it through the individuals that I connect with or the people that I meet, where there's a very strong connection that is very loving. And I can't put it into words, but magic happens in that moment, So it is, it's my life, I would say. It's becoming more so. Yeah.
So I know you've been like this your whole life. How does it feel here in October of 2021 to have so many more people tuning in to this type of collective frequencies.
Yeah, it feels good. I feel that my life and my life's purpose is actually it's materializing at the moment. I'm choosing my words very carefully, but it's like it's becoming more real in terms of the material, the physical form. And I don't even know why I'm saying that, but that's the feeling of it, is that I've been waiting my whole life for this to happen, because that was the purpose in me being here. I've always been at the forefront, an interpreter of energy.
Yeah.
It can be extremely demanding sometimes.
I figured that.
Yeah, because I might be faced with someone and they're looking at me, and they're just like you and I were this morning, and they're like waiting for me to say something.
That is saying something, isn't it?
And I'm saying to myself, okay, what's happening here, waiting for that moment to expand and open up through the heart. And then when the person feels it on the other end, they'll then step into my energy, because they might be hesitant to come in, or there might be fear of some sort. So they're looking at me. I don't know what they're seeing, because I'm just being me. And it's like, this is me. Hi. And they come into the energy, and then we connect, and the words will start to flow. And then after it's gone, there's no memory, there's no recollection of anything that we've shared. It's just, wow, wasn't that beautiful? Thank you. And we may see each other again, but it's unlikely, very unlikely. If we do, we just either there's nothing coming from the person that I've connected with. I might look at them and recognize them for a moment and smile, but it's quite common for nothing to come back, as if we've never met. So I would say that's not a physical experience we're having. I would say it's a connection that has brought us together through spirit and form.
Yeah.
And it's taken a long time for me to come to that realization, because I've lived like this my whole life and I haven't had a clue what was going on. What was going on?
Welcome to the crazy farm. This is where all the crazy people are, but crazy's not crazy anymore. Crazy's
It's mad, it really is.
Yeah,
but 1995 was the 1988. Something was happening through my body, and I wasn't aware of the harmonic convergence at a conscious level, but I was obviously experiencing it. And my body was reacting, and as usual, when you're on this path, there's physical symptoms that come with it. While the physical comes into alignment with the change that's happening. If you're someone that's permanently awakening, there's a continual feeling of awakening in your life. And when it comes in and comes into your physical world, and the physical world collapses, and you're left with, again, the silence. There's just this feeling of, oh, what did I do here? Then you'll understand what this feels like. The physical body needs to accept the change that's happening.
Yes.
It might be happening energetically, but your physical body hasn't caught up with it.
Yes.
And as it starts to come in, then it reacts, because I was terrified when I first started experiencing really powerful shifts through my consciousness, because I had no idea that it was possible. And also, there is a very strong feeling of death that comes through.
Yeah.
But realizing that it's not a physical death, but that in itself is another alignment that's happening, and it's happening right now on the planet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's happening to a lot of people.
It is, I know.
It's
And it can be very, very frightening if you're not in the flow of the energy.
and even if you are.
Yeah. Well, in reality, what I see is that there is no death.
Of course.
When you live from a place of spirit, then your spirit is everlasting. And I live in the eternal or the infinite source. So everything is moving continually through me, not as me, but through me.
Yes, like a conduit.
Yeah. Yes.
Like a transmitter.
Yeah. So it's for those that are going through the change just now and who are experiencing these shifts in their consciousness, and they might not even be aware that it's their consciousness, then I would say that there's a very deep purpose in the experience that they're having, and that they have made a choice at a higher level before they came here to experience this. Because if you feel that you're not in control and that you're not able to fully live, then it's terrifying.
Yes.
Because there's a split and a separation that happens.
Yes.
And the present energies are really, really powerful through the mental and the physical. So the connection that we have with Mother Earth and this powerful etheric field that is there is really speaking to us to accept that we're formless, that we're not the form, the physical, we're actually formless, that we are able to live from a very formless union with source consciousness. I'm still learning about this because I'm finding that over the past 3 years or so, I had to move out of my healing space that I had. I didn't have a choice. And then I haven't had any money to speak of because my money disappeared. And I'm walking around in a world where I'm looking for connections.
Right.
So, for example, if I go to the supermarket and I'm trying to get myself some food, I maybe got £5 or something, a little bit of money. and then I get the nod from the security guy in the supermarket. It sounds crazy, but it's like,
What do you mean? You get
well,
what?
it's like a nod. There's a
Oh.
guy wandering around in security, you know.
Okay.
He's covered in tattoos, and he's a big guy. And I'm looking at him, and he's smiling at me, and he's giving me the nod. You know, he's just saying, "It's okay. You know, it's okay for you to be here. Have some food."
Yeah. Get what you need.
Yeah, they do.
Get what you need.
And it's quite something because it's my nervous system, you know, it's doing things while it's like walking through a gateway each time, where I walk through the gateway into the supermarket, and then I choose very carefully anyway what I'm eating, but I can be lifting something and I'm aware that nobody is seeing me. I'm not being seen.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm very much seeing myself as
Yes.
as Saul. Yeah.
Yes. I get this. Like an equal energy exchange and
Yes.
a hive type of frequency. You offer yourself
Yeah.
as almost like a beacon or a tuning fork, let's say, and those that you come into range with you pick up what they need, and you take only what you need.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's very literal, actually.
I know. I was going to ask you about that because I love how the telepathy is flowing now every day, more and more and more. But you know, I don't know if you followed the shows, but I started juicing middle of June. So about 80 to 90% of what I take in is organic vegetables, 3/4 vegetables and 1/4 fruit. And I've been drinking typically about 4 containers of 600 milligrams a day.
Right.
And so, you know, this has come up in the shows, and people make comments and they send messages, and some of the people I've had on the show talk about it, how the body has been coming online, certainly this year and even a lot of last year, and that the sleeping patterns are nowhere to be found. Time is going away, and eating is becoming very different. So
Yes.
my question, this came up today because I was integrating last week. By human terms, I was very ill.
Yes.
And I hadn't been
I saw
okay,
that.
and so I didn't juice. So I went to the market yesterday.
Yeah.
Got everything I needed. Came home and I made 4 of those containers. 4. And I drank 2.
Yeah.
And I just now, because I don't let them go more than 24 hours. I just now, right before the 24 hours was going to be over, I drank a 3rd one. But I was getting the intel from the body.
Yes. Yeah.
That you were not going to need 4. You might only need 2.
Yeah.
Between the water and coconut water and tea. And so a lot of people have been talking about this, and I was going to ask you about this. Do you see this happening on a wider scale? Is it happening now, to your knowledge? Is it growing?
Yes, definitely. We're becoming self-sustainable. And I mean in the true nature of sustainability. If you're a person like myself, I'm an energetic being, you know, I'm connected with energy. So anything that I consume is energy based. and therefore it will be of a frequency that the body is able to really swallow. I'm using the word swallow because I feel that that's really important, that we're swallowing, because we're swallowing a lot of life at the moment, literally through our being. And a lot of what we're taking in is not comfortable. Excuse me, the density that is on the planet is being consumed at some level. And finding the balance between the light that we're fully becoming through the light body and the crystalline body, and the density being the physical form that we are, because we are living through our own energetic body, maybe, but the physical body needs to be attended to, and it needs a great deal of love just now. So food and nourishment, the deeper you go, then the more aware you become that it's insight.
Yes.
It's an inner nourishment. We need soul food. We need people around us that we feel a soul connection with. We need to connect with beauty around us, art, or I'm very much into visual art, and a very kind of visual, visionary person. So that's all soul food. When you're fully connected with the source of love inside us, and this level of consciousness that is creative, because we are the creator of our lives, the more that we can feed ourselves through our creativity, I feel the less we need physical food. We need to recognize that we're nourishing ourselves, and that it's difficult to explain. I have trees outside.
I get it. I totally get it. I mean,
yeah.
It's like, I noticed, for instance, that, I really don't do this much. I've talked about this, but like, I can't even remember, but I think the last time was maybe two weeks ago. I went and got a cheeseburger and French fries. But in that moment, and now I remember that day, my soul, I just said, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. But it was an energetic experience.
Yeah.
I came home, I brought it home, I sat down. It was like a ritual. And the senses were like lit, and everything tasted like in a way it never tasted before.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
So there's like these weird things happening, and then to your point about the nurturing, like there was some kind of signal from the soul that said, you will start juicing now. And now if I look back at the last, 3 months or 3.5 months, that it was very necessary because of the level of expansion that I wanted to experience. The energetic aspect of the juicing created a purging and a cleansing, and allowed for me to actually go through what I did last week the way I did. So it's all like related, and all these things that we do or used to do, they all have a greater energetic impact and opportunity. You know, it's just everything's different.
Yeah, and there's no rules.
Yeah.
There's no rules. I'm experiencing something similar where I'm finding that I'm just occasionally I'll eat something that I used to eat. Maybe it's like another lifetime, long time ago. And I would never eat these things usually, but I'm very drawn just to taste something that I used to taste. It tastes different.
Yeah.
It tastes lighter.
Yeah.
And also it feels nourishing as well. It might be something like a piece of chocolate or, you know, or some kind of sweet that you had stopped eating. And then it comes into my awareness and I'm like, I like to taste that. So when I taste it, it tastes very nourishing. Yeah. But it will only be for that brief time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a habit. What
No.
about the I mean, obviously England is a very powerful and important energetic epicenter. So much history and
Yeah.
stargates and you know, I'm sure dimensional portals and so on. But what I'm getting at is, do you have any feel or any sensitivity to where we're at collectively?
Globally.
Yeah, globally. I mean, I know there's a lot of people and it's changing. I think it's changing, but understandably, there's a lot of people, and we've all had our moments where we get caught up on the stories out there.
Yeah.
But it looks like, to me anyway, I see people and myself becoming more focused on just the energy of everything. And
Yes.
not to mention you have this individual aspect to our lives now that has a totally new meaning. And like you said, everything's different and there's no rules. It's a whole, but just having said all that, I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are on, because I'll just shut up, but I mean, what your thoughts are on what's happening, how we're doing, what we're doing.
With the shift. With the shift in consciousness. Yeah. At this point, there's a very strong awareness growing on the planet as a whole. I see that there are many factors. If you take the multidimensional on the planet, what's happening is there's an integration happening through the multidimensional field. So the purpose and the alignment for every soul on the planet is to fully be multidimensional, I feel. Where there is, as I said earlier, there's no location. There's no separation. Everything is deeply integrated into the one. It's all happening all simultaneously. There's a sense also of how we're really coming into our own form through the release of the systems that are in place. The systems, if they're perceived as being outside of us, it's non-existent when you become your own full multidimensional self, because it's your own experience of life that you're living through your multi-dimensional capacity. As it expands, then we become more and more connected with our creativity. If we have a system in place inside us, then it's usually connected with love rather than it being separation. And the harmony and the flow of life is a choice that we make from inside. So we may be perceiving things happening on the outside, but when we're fully aligned with our own flow of life inside and are multidimensional, then we find ourselves being able to literally bypass these systems that are in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and
because, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was living in it for very fully. I published my book, Healing from the Heart. This is it here, in 2005. And it's about my spiritual awakening in 1995. And I was given a space to live. I was told not to worry about anything. And I lived in a really beautiful flow for 12 years. And then in 2017, I felt something change. And the systems from the outside were starting to come into my awareness.
Mm.
And then at the end of 2017, I was asked to leave the property that I was living in. And I sought help from outside, and there was nothing that I could do. I couldn't change it. So that's just really one way of describing what can happen when you're, my consciousness was shifting and it was becoming more aligned with my physical body once more, with the density, with, here is Soul, this is her here. And I'm saying, no, that's not right. No. What are you talking about? That's nonsense.
Yeah, it's interesting watching the dance.
Yeah,
the human part of us.
Yeah,
the beloved spirit that it is in the flesh that is still not fully understanding or accepting or aware or whatever the word is, but the dance of it holding on to what it's known and therefore resisting what it is.
Yeah.
But I see so many in the last few weeks have crossed over. And it's amazing. And I see things like the quantum aspect of creation. Mm-hmm. I start seeing how if I look at you and I see something that's, let's just say, I project a shadowed or a judgment, and I'm superior or you're, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing that we actually impact that person's energy. It just because we're fractals and we have a mind, body, spirit. Everything around us is the same thing, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
so it's like you said, all the rules are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
In fact,
Yeah.
it's not even quantum, it's beyond quantum.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I will come across people when I go out. I haven't been going out a great deal, but I usually go out and I meet people continually on my paths, and I have people speak to me, and what comes out of their mouth is always a surprise. It's magic because they're actually seeing me. They're seeing beyond the physical. They're seeing the true light that comes through, and so they will speak from that place. And for example, one day a lady said to me, I met this elderly lady in this old church in Edinburgh. I love churches and sacred spaces, not for the religious
I know what you
viewpoint,
mean.
just
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, for the energy. This lady, she had damaged her leg or something. She's sitting on a chair, and I was with someone, I don't even know who it was, and they introduced me to her. And she looked up at me because she's here and I'm standing. And she said, "Oh," she said, "you're a bank, aren't you?"
A what?
A bank.
Bank.
And I laughed. And I said, "Yes, you're correct." Because what she was saying was that I was able to utilize my energy and my abundance in a way where literally, and I give things to people all the time, you know.
Isn't that something?
So her perception of it and her words were really, it really stayed in my heart. I said, "My goodness, thank you, darling." So it's things like that. Yeah, yeah. So that all that energy that I'm talking about, it's uplifting. It lifts the spirit.
It makes me wonder how many of you are there.
Oh, like I would like to know.
I mean, every day I'm looking at these people here. I know these people. Milana Fiore, my friend, she's an auntie in Kauai. Cooley, Sasha Grace. I saw a few other people, but I wonder how many are there, because over the last few weeks I can see it in the field. I can see, and I've seen it in Soulogy, in the group and on the show. They're coming out.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's amazing to think about because it's one thing to be a tuning fork and sitting in the background and not being seen.
Yeah.
And to have the frequency added of the visibility and the voice.
Yeah.
That's such a huge energetic impact, no matter what it looks like it's up against. Because whatever it is, it can't compete with that. That's just pure heart, pure truth. And I guess that goddess energy, that mother goddess energy that's been suppressed in all of us.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had people say to me from all areas of the globe that they've actually seen me in their vicinity. They've met me, that they have met me there in their country. And I've said, yeah, of course. Because I'm with you, you know, I am there. And I've asked about why it is I'm not physically traveling, which is what I always felt I was going to be doing. But I'm already there, you know.
Yeah. No, I get that too. There was a guy from Australia on a few months back, and he was probably my age or maybe a little bit younger. I'll be 60, but anyway, he was in Australia, and how did this go? He picked up, I think he picked up a rider or something, like a hitchhiker or something, and it was an Indian man, an Eastern Indian man, and this is how his journey started. He was like 19 or 20 years old. He ends up going to India a couple of 3 or 4 years later, and he goes to an ashram to apprentice under some masters, and this man is there. Mm-hmm. Yet the man never physically got on a plane and went to Australia.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So it would, I think, like, I know a couple of nights ago, you wake up sometimes and you're just so sore, and you've been out flying around and working and doing energy work and listening to you and thinking about this, I'm thinking, I'm going to all these different universes and stuff, but I'm starting to think now, maybe we're just doing it right here.
Yeah, they're coming to you.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe
It's true. They actually come to you. You don't have to do anything. It's actually, it's part of the reality that's changing on the planet just now. Is the belief system that we have to go somewhere,
right?
And that's why there is all this, I call it nonsense, that's going on to do with COVID, and I won't talk about that, but and also that flights are being, they're being delayed, or there's this feeling of not being able to move outside your own country, your own space. Even your own physical space is difficult to move because people are at home, they don't want to go outside for whatever reason that might be.
So,
oh, is that okay?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
I get keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's actually the reverse that's happening.
I see what you're saying. It's that paradox, right?
Yes.
I mean, so it seems like there's this big bad boogeyman that's suppressing everyone and constricting their movements.
It's
actually the opposite.
Yeah.
We're being put into a situation where we're going to be stationary so that our gifts can come to us, so to speak.
Definitely.
So every time we fight this force that seems to be taking our sovereignty, it's actually the universe putting us where we need to be, just like it's done in all of our lives every time it's moved us out of our homes or jobs or anything else, right? I mean, it's you always go down the road and you see the perfection of it.
Yeah, that's true. The space that I was living in for 12 years, it was elevated and it had big windows. And every day I was watching the gateways opening up in the earth from there, and the vortex is dancing around. I see golden pillars of light outside the window. And I didn't have, people used to come and visit me for healings and for meditations, and I would mention it to them if it felt as if it was in the flow of the conversation. But otherwise, I was keeping it to myself. When I looked out one window, I was seeing Tibet.
Really?
I looked out the other window, I was in the Holy Land. And I used to stand there and I could be there all day. It was like being in a multi-screen movie with dancing vortexes and pillars of light and the Holy Land and the prayers, and I was taking them in, and then Tibet and the mountains. Wow. I never went out anywhere. I didn't need to go anywhere. It was amazing. I loved it. And I still have it, but it's a different level that I'm living in because I've dropped down into the earth now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too that I've noticed doing what I do, that, you know, a lot of people in their journey and in their wake up had different aspects that kind of guided them, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, and not for everybody, but there's a lot of people that's going away. That it's the only thing left is you, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're embodied, but it's not like it used to be. It's like it's what used to be miraculous is now just a part of your past. It was information to let you know that, to open that code in you, I guess, or something like that. And I don't know. I guess
Because
in a way,
yeah,
what I'm saying, it's becoming very human.
you become the miracle.
Yeah.
You are the miracle. We're all the miracle of life. We embody it. We hold it. The miracle is a part where it can happen in any infinite second.
Yes. Instantaneous.
Yeah.
Instantaneous.
Yeah. And you'll receive it out of nowhere, what feels like out of nowhere. And you experience the joy of the connection.
Yes.
Which is everlasting.
Yeah. It used to be like what? It would be like a flash. Like you would think that's my imagination.
Yeah.
And then it's like that part of us that used to be such a small part's becoming the majority part, and eventually I think the whole part. And I want to ask you too, you know, there's been a lot of, over the last 10 years, 2012 predictions. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I want to make that point, because everything changes. I mean, it's like getting your fortune told. You know, you get your fortune told, and then the minute you walk out the door, everything's subject to change, right? I mean, it's more like a snapshot, right? But you know, I remember people talking about it's all going to happen by 2070 or 2050 or 20, but it sure seems like we're moving these timelines up very fast.
Yeah, because there's no time.
Yeah.
In essence, there is no time. The more that you're integrated and living from your own sacred energy, where you're complete and whole, then there's no time that exists within that. So there's no projection of future or past. It's all happening now, in this moment. Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit, because I don't want to run out of time. We're already going overboard. So,
Okay.
but if you don't mind,
No.
saying, okay. A little bit about this, the energetic pregnancy, or I might be using the wrong term. I had an interesting conversation with my friend Julie Dara Roberts, who's very connected.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. And so she sent me a note yesterday, and she said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm actually doing great, except for I'm still having slight stomach issues, not a lot of pain, but I'm bloated. I feel like I'm pregnant."
Yes.
And she said, "You know, it happens to men too." Because, well, she told me she's felt that way the past week.
Yeah.
And she goes, "You know, it happens to men too." And I said, "Oh my God, I'll be lactating the next thing you know." Right. But she was saying that, and of course it falls right in line with you coming on the show. And so I just wondered if you could just, because we've had people on here, Alicia, and we had another lady that was in Mexico who literally had apparently and she had an incredible story, an immaculate conception of a physical being that lived for 2.5 years.
Right.
So what can you
Yeah.
tell us about this?
I've actually been writing about I'm writing about the new children, and it's connected with this. I'm just tuning in here. The immaculate, the purity of source consciousness and awareness, and the intention that comes from the body, from the embodiment of the the energy that creates the child. If we're talking about a physical birth, in reality, there is a sense of how this pure awareness, and also the connection with the soul of the child, where there's you might call it a contract or agreement that we have to bring this energy through the body and actually birth and earth the energy. It's a place of, I would call it divine alignment, where the container for the birth is able to fully align and allow the new soul to enter into the physical form, to come through the womb. I believe that this happens with all births, Todd. There's no time connected with this. This has always been. But at this particular period that we're living through, there's more awareness. The new children that are coming through are so highly, they're so aligned without any reasoning. They're fully embodied through their high source energies. They're whole, and they're gifted, obviously. But these children are really here to heal the planet and to heal humanity. When I look into the eyes of a small child, I don't see a child. I see something that is a part of me. I can feel it inside me. It's very real. This is not a child that I'm looking at. Not every child, but certain children, where they are here for a purpose. And so the purity of the birthing and the conception is very important. So, for example, if you have a child that's born into an Indian family, this is just, off the top of my head, but, if you've got a family that's very, very sacred energy, they're living in prayer. When we're living in a state of prayer, we're actually embodying it through the cells in the body. So the mother of the child will be already communicating with the soul of the child, and the child will be able to come through and reinforce who she is, where there's no disharmony.
Right.
There's no separation. That's really what we want for the future. generations is for there to be a very easy birthing process for both mother and child. Yeah. Yeah.
And what about the non-physical births? I think you had mentioned.
Non-physical. You're talking about these beings of light that are coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, like Alicia was talking about. We've had others. Julie's been on last year talking about bearing dragons.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so and I'm just using the human terms, but yeah, I just
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I don't know
want.
much about that.
Oh, okay,
Go on.
that's fine. I that's fine. I just thought that I had read that in the message that we had exchanged, but don't worry about it. One of the things that comes in and out, and I don't know if it's some type of programming, because I look at anything as a potential program, even if it's coming from a higher dimensional aspect. It's still not, in my mind, totally balanced. Like to me, the only place that can be is the one itself. When we're, what I mean. But I guess what I'm trying to say is in regard to Agartha, Shambhala, Telos, the inner Earth family. Are the inner Earth star family a part of this? Do you know anything about that? Do you think that there's anything going on there?
Yeah. Well, I was painting the star beings in my last space that I was living in. The star, I feel very connected as part of the star family. And the connection, I don't see there being separation between what you might call the cosmos or the planets.
I got you.
The star family and the Earth. It's all one.
Yes.
So it's possible to, I see it in Edinburgh. Sometimes I see someone and I know that they're, they're not earthly beings.
Yeah. So in other words, they're standing right next to us, and depending on our frequency in the moment, we can, I get you. You're
yeah.
That's probably the last time I'll ever ask that question, because it's now become a dumb question. Because like you said, we are it. And in some non-human comprehensible type of way, we are the center of the universe. Each one of us is a center of the universe.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you have a woman's poetry page, and I went to it, and you bring awareness to the feminine poets. And I know you are into visual arts. I don't know if there's anything that you would like to do as an offering before we get out of here, or if you want to talk about something else, it's fine too. But I just wanted to give you some space to do whatever you want to do for a few minutes.
Okay. We could do a short meditation if you want.
Sure.
And I've been connected with sound and voice since 1995. So I used to go into spaces very connected with ancient architecture, and as you can imagine. So I used to go into spaces that would open up to me in Edinburgh, and I would literally open up my voice to the divine. And I haven't done this for a number of years. I used to love it.
Really?
But last year, I went through an embodiment overnight, which was actually really, really painful for about a week. And I had another voice coming through, which was coming through prayer. And I've been using it and sharing it with individuals. And it's very, it's a different sound. It feels very grounding to me. And it's very beautiful. So I can share just a short meditation and
sure. This is perfect. Yes.
Prayer. Okay. So we're just connecting with the light of the soul. The beauty inside. Blessing the source of all existence. Blessing the heart and connecting with our sacred heart inside. Releasing illusion. Blessing the beauty of our sacred form. So we're just breathing through the heart space, this light of the soul, uniting the love of who we truly are inside. Asmalatikin ala isun ala is monada isun ala isun oi. Ochimalada ish lala e. Asala e. Ish. Asimalada ai. Blessing our Mother Earth and the infinite wisdom and joy inside. is maladitin oishun ala ish. Ishun ala ishun. Namaste.
Wow. That was really cool.
Oh.
I was just sitting there thinking, my mind doesn't get, I was actually right in line, and then all of a sudden I heard, you got the coolest fucking job in the universe.
That's true.
Oh my God. It's just been such a phenomenal 3 or 4 days. I mean, I know a lot of people are going through stuff, and sometimes one of us will be up and the other will be down, and then it changes. But one thing that's certain is whatever we're going through, whether it feels good or it's uncomfortable, like our brother and sister Franco and Kimberly, there's expansion. There's expansion everywhere you turn. Thank you for coming.
No, you're welcome.
I'm really happy that I decided to do a show at 3:00 in the morning, and I'm really very happy to become reacquainted with you.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm going to try to sleep. I don't know
It's
how that's
lovely to meet you here, Todd.
Yes, it is, and we'll have to do it again sometime, maybe early next year. We're going to have a what is it called, a sunrise music meditation in 4 hours and 40 minutes. It's going to be with a didgeridoo. I can never say it.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo, and that's Tom Gilligan, and then Renee LeBlue is going to be bringing her instruments, and Julie Dar Roberts will be. It's a conjunction, so she will be explaining what the conjunction is, and it was their idea, and I'm happy to. We're happy at Soulogy to provide a platform for it. So anyone that's interested, it'll be in 4.5 hours. And I just want to say thanks again to our beautiful guest, Soul. And I want to wish you the very best always. All blessings to you and that Viking that's behind there with you.
Viking. Really?
He looked like a pretty big guy. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, you take care. I love you very much. And peace out.
You too.
Peace out, everybody. See you. We got 4 shows also tomorrow, so we'll see you then.